Today's Wednesday, March 5th, 2014. You're tuned in to the Elevator Radio Show. The Elevator Radio Show is a proud supporter of the Elevator Escalator Safety Foundation. To find out how you can make a difference, visit their website today at www.eesf.org. Everybody got a good show for you today, shorter and sweeter, so stay tuned. Here comes.
You're tuned in to the Elevator Radio Show, a weekly program dedicated to covering news and information on elevators, escalators, and moving walkways. Produced in the wee hours of the morning, a new show is uploaded every Wednesday, sometimes even before you get out of bed. Listen to some of the comments sent in from our audience.
Rob from New York writes, Tom, are you f***ing insane? You actually get up at 2 a.m. each Wednesday to put this show out? Man, you must love elevators. Tim from Illinois writes, I'm not sure why I listened, but ever since I tuned into the first show back in 2007, I've been addicted. Matt in Texas writes, I like your safety messages, Tom. It's important to remember them each and every day. And he also adds,
when am I going to win the monthly prize pack giveaway?
Ron from California sent this in. Despite your inability to pronounce words in the English language, I tune in each week and am glad that you offer this service to the industry. It's better than Google News alerts. Sarah from Washington writes, love the show, Tom, and look forward to it each week. I'm glad I signed up for the newsletter. You provide a valuable resource for the industry, not only for North America, but worldwide.
Enjoy the show. And now, here's your sleep-deprived host, Tom Seibert.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Yes. Crazy. There's the stop button. Hey, everybody, this is Tom Seibert, broadcasting to you as live as we possibly can be from the wonderful Windy City, Chicago, Illinois, where guess what it's doing outside? It is snowing once again. Yeah, I woke up about 3 o'clock this morning, or 2:30 actually, and looked out the window and said, oh my goodness, there's more snow. And you know what? As I looked into the weather forecast, snow is going to basically come all morning long. It's just crazy. Whether it's March 5th or March 30th, I think we're going to see snow for quite some time. And let's just hope that with the hour change that we spring ahead, maybe that'll help a lot. Maybe that'll help out a little bit, but I don't think it's going to, unfortunately. So just hang in there if you are in a snowy area right now, or if you're east of Chicago, we are sending more snow your way. And I apologize for that, but not much that I can do on that. So I hope everybody had a great week out there and a good weekend. I actually was able to kind of recharge my batteries over the weekend, which I desperately needed. Spent some nice quality time with family, and I needed that after the previous 2 weeks of just being on the road and traveling, and just sometimes you just need that. So looking forward to another recharging type of weekend this weekend. And yeah, it's just one of those things that helps me. Yeah, it just kind of helps me get grounded, and I'm sure it does for many of you out there. And sometimes I think when we feel as if we are run down, or just work or life is beating us up, it's important to kind of touch base and basically, reevaluate and try to get recharged however we possibly can. So make sure that you're taking time to do that. It's especially important to do so in these winter months. So anyway, it is good to be here this Wednesday morning, as I mentioned earlier, as it always is, and kind of back on schedule and back into some type of routine, which is not always easy to do. And so we do have a shorter show today. As I mentioned earlier, I did get up a little bit later today, not on purpose, but just because I thought there wasn't that much content as I looked through the news articles last night before going to bed. So we don't have as many news stories to touch on, but we do have a couple that are definitely worthy of sharing. So we'll get into those in a little bit. Those of you who sent me email comments welcoming me back, thank you so much. As always, send your email comments to elevatorradioshow@gmail.com. I will try to cover them on the radio show if you would like me to. If not, if you'd prefer to remain anonymous, just tell me that, and I will not share it with anyone whatsoever. So, so hopefully anybody has a comment, question, concern, shoot it my way, and I will get back to you as quickly as I possibly can. Not always that easy to do, but I do, try my best. So anyway, first week of March, and if my memory serves me correctly, I can't remember March being so snowy in the last probably last 10 years. It's been a while since we've had a major snowstorm, and even at that, basically it's been like one huge snowstorm and then that was it. So not this snow every 3 days, and it's just not a lot of fun. Good for the snowplowers out there, that's for sure. Not so much for the people paying the bills to have the snowplows work, but what are you going to do? Part of the deal. Anyway, let's get into the news content. So we'll have you out of here in basically no time at all. So up next, we'll get into the news. If you've got a story or an article or press release you'd like to share with me and with the audience, send it to elevatorradioshow@gmail.com, and I'll try to get to it basically in the next show succession. So we'll get right into the news, and we'll have you out of here in no time. Up next is news.
Let this week's news stories give you a lift on what's happening in the vertical transportation arena. Each news segment is organically dug and fresh with news stories of the week. Got lift? If not, stay tuned.
All right, first news article that I found was a blog post from Slate.com, and I don't really understand where this photo's coming from, but yeah, this is definitely, and maybe they basically overlaid this this label on the elevator doors. If you're looking at the photo, authorized personnel only with key only, and they're asking the question, what's the little hole in the door for? I think we should start some rumor that's basically to let or allow the monsters to breathe that live in the elevator hoistway. I think we should do that. Maybe that would actually make people think twice about riding in the elevators, and so that if indeed you try to get out of an elevator, if it was stalled, you basically might get eaten by the monsters that live in the pit, right? What other kind of animal would live in a pit? An alligator? You know what I mean? So anyway, so interesting blog post. Encourage anybody to share your 2 cents with Mark, the author of this blog post over at slate.com. And I don't know if we necessarily need more signs and labels like is shown on the door, but anyway, it's there to, I guess it's an interesting blog post. And again, I think one of those deals where it's kind of a slow news week. Okay, calendar events for the Massachusetts Elevator Safety Association. I just make a note that next week is going to be the monthly meeting, and it's great. Celebrate the approach of St. Patrick's Day with Mesa. Topics to be announced are welcomed. For your suggestions. I did see where I thought they were going on a field trip, but I am not 100% sure. It doesn't show there. If you are interested, please contact Mesa and the officers there, and as always, do your part to make that organization or your local association as successful as it can be. Remember that it's they're all run by independent volunteers and that don't get paid anything whatsoever. Okay, Hyundai Elevator wins a contract in Iraq. You just wonder what the deal was behind this. This is a huge contract, $63 million, and basically it's supplying 1,668 elevators for all apartment buildings in New City project in Bismaya. So I hope this is their own money that they're using and not money of ours or in the United States. It's coming from globalpost.com. Big contract. Next article, the cultural history of the elevator. Kind of an interesting blog post. This is up on 2 different sites, popmatters.com, and it's actually a post, and it's a cool image here too, I gotta say. Shut this down. Anyway, it's an interesting article on a book that has been published by Andreas Bernhard. It's called Lifted, A Cultural History of the Elevator. Which probably many of us already kind of have the history and idea behind how elevators changed cityscapes and our modern, landscape in terms of growing outward and not, cities not having to grow outward, but they kind of did. But kind of a nice, cool excerpt in here. I encourage you to check it out. Link is in the show notes, and perhaps even maybe pick up the book, if you like. So kind of neat. All right, that one is not posting through. Next article, broken rail escalators. Let me see here. WIVB, channel4.com, has a special investigation. Let's see if we can play this without some...
Here at the Mark in the Square.
All right. Love those local ads. Anyway, this is problems continue for broken NFTA station escalators. And, Channel News 4 investigates.
We have been following this problem for months. Escalators that are supposed to move people through metro stations.
No
in Buffalo,
way!
standing still.
No
because
way!
They don't work. No one investigates.
Are you
like
kidding
News 4.
me?
And tonight, yet another escalator is out of service, and that's prompting questions from NFTA commissioners.
Lots of
Luke
questions.
Moretti is here with the new information tonight. Luke.
Yeah, Diana, the escalator
goodness.
issues don't seem to be going away anytime soon, and it's a subject that came up during a recent NFTA committee meeting.
Well, that's a good thing, right?
Metro rail commuters are once again down to one escalator at University Station. The number 2 escalator is out of service for major reconstruction.
I don't know what to think. They're raising fares and stuff. You think they'd be able to fix it?
We caught up with Joyce Dean at the Delavan Metro Station, where the number 4 escalator has been out of service for quite some time.
And once I came in, and the escalator and elevators out of service. And I was wondering, what are wheelchair people supposed to do?
Exactly.
This whole escalator business came up during a recent NFTA Surface Transportation Committee meeting. Commissioner Henry Sloma raised questions about escalator maintenance.
This is very embarrassing for all of us. All of a sudden we have these catastrophic failures, like it was news to us. I mean, we didn't see this coming.
News 4 Investigates has done numerous stories on the ups and downs of the NFTA's escalators, especially at University Station. We wanted to talk to the NFTA about the plans going forward, but our request for an interview was declined. The NFTA's Director of Public Affairs, Doug Hartmeyer, telling us in an email that we do not feel there is any new information to cover, adding, "We are focused on moving forward with our escalator modernization program." That program will eventually see 22 of 24 escalators replaced. Thomas George, the NFTA's Director of Public Transit, recently told commissioners that the project will include a new maintenance contract that will likely cost more than what was spent in the past.
We've been in a cost containment mode for a long time on these escalators, and I think we're paying the price now.
It's expected to take about 4 years to replace all of the escalators.
Wait a minute. Let me just go back for 1 minute here. Let's just see what he said.
For a long time on these escalators, and I think we're
Okay, we've been in a cost containment mode for a long time on the escalators, and I think we're paying the price now. So what does that mean? Does that mean that we've spent no money or little money in trying to maintain or fix escalators, and now they've got a bigger problem on hand? Maybe, but the news isn't going to go into that and dive into that. So, yeah, you know what? I don't know. I just love these pieces. Anyway, everybody can chime in if they're like, or post responses, but yeah, accessibility is key for sure. I agree with that, but not always the way that our wonderful media likes to report on things. Okay, Elevator World's got a real cool web exclusive on the I-Court in Vancouver. Kone calls on Wisconsin's WIC Industries to help create accessible elevators for Spinal Cord Center. This is a cool building. And I'm just not sure I understand what's going on. Okay, here we go. Oh, yeah, here we go. So thanks for Wix Ingress Cabin Hall Bump Bars. Oh, these are big bump bars. Very cool. Yeah, something you don't see every day, where you can actually bump into them using a wheelchair. And just so you know, these go above and beyond any kind of accessibility requirement for elevators, but these are pretty cool. I know C.J. Anderson has come up with some of these as well, and actually done them in Seattle. So pretty slick indeed. So requires that you don't have to necessarily have hands to focus on this kind of stuff. So yeah, pretty cool indeed. Next article: escalator advertising totally against code. Can you imagine riding an escalator and seeing this thing? Oh my gosh! Talk about the kids you terrify. I mean, who in the right mind would think this is okay? And on top of it, this is advertising National Geographic, the National Geographic channel. I mean, there's some other cool advertising in here, which I think is pretty unique. But this is not good. And I think the only reason why, it's permissible or done in this situation is because it's in Brazil. But still, terrifying. You think riding on an escalator perhaps could be a little bit intimidating for a child? Yeah, put put an image of a crocodile coming out of the ground at the bottom and see how much easier that makes it. I guess you got to face your fears, perhaps two at a time. Yeah, terrifying. Here's another real scary story that happened in India. A woman was stuck in an escalator after her sari got caught in the escalator, and then her hair got caught. Good news is the woman was actually okay. Okay, I don't know what that is. Anyway, so the woman's okay, but as you can imagine, anytime hair gets pulled into some kind of mechanized type of machinery, the result is typically pretty horrific. So, yeah, I think in countries where loose-fitting clothing is worn along with sandals and shoes that may not be necessarily appropriate for escalator usage, could definitely be an issue. Okay, John's got some videos over on his YouTube channel. I'm going to let everybody check that out before the ad plays. This one on relay logic contact arcing. He also has some interesting articles or videos that he posted last week on just what certain elevator equipment is and how it works. So kind of a nice insight. And again, if you're watching these videos and you're not a trained elevator technician, you should not be in the machine room. You should not be working on elevators. You should not be looking at them or anything. So machine room spaces is only for trained and authorized personnel, not for everyday common folk like you and I to be farting around with stuff because it will kill you. And that's my disclaimer for you. Or injure you very badly. It could, I guess. Okay, here's another blog post, Boston Globe. Basically an article talking about how the elevator transformed America. Let's see if we can play this without the... Oh yeah, that's really loud. BostonGlobe.com. It's a video. The elevator 150 years old. And these are stores. Okay, this should be interesting. All right, if you're listening to this, all you're hearing is elevator music. And basically it is a... Okay, this is just... I will get off of this. And again, it's kind of tying with the other article or the other book article link talking about how elevators transformed America. Anyway, okay, next article is Pix11.com reporting on the MTA says 345 of the machines directly.
Our employees give great customer service.
Yes, we give great customer service. Anyway, and it's just an article talking about the worst escalators in the Mass Metropolitan Transit Authority in New York. Let me see if there's any insightful information, or if this is basically going to be the same kind of article as the last one, which I suspect it will be. But since we have a little bit of time, we'll let this play in about 2 seconds here. Here we go.
The commute turns into a sudden Stairmaster workout when a broken escalator or elevator interrupts the flow. It's a traffic mess. Riders sent me pictures from Thursday morning from the 7 platform trying to exit up to 42nd Street. I use it too. It's supposed to be fixed by Friday the 28th. But we've been hearing that for weeks now. The sign from last week said it would be fixed the 21st. Note the tape over the date from the first sign, which was put up at the beginning of February. I waited for a time when it wasn't so busy, as if there is such a thing. I didn't want anybody muttering about me blocking the staircase. Going down is a lot easier than walking up. A rep from the MTA met me to talk about it.
Escalators are, without a doubt, one of the most complicated pieces of equipment in our system by far, just in terms of the parts, the amount of time and labor it takes to open up an escalator and get into those parts. And again, it varies case by case. This situation here is an example of where we had to remove sprockets and bearings, as well as the axles had to be removed taken to the contractor's machine shop and completely rebuilt. That's a process alone that takes 11 days.
The signs are up. I appreciate those, and it ends up being it'll be done in a week, and then it's 2 weeks, and then it's 3 weeks. What's the reason for for that?
Well, we try to provide an estimate in terms of when we'll be able to restore an escalator back into service. And sometimes we're able to do that ahead of the scheduled time. Other times it takes a little bit longer based on the amount of work that needs to be done.
The system has more than 300 escalators and
thought
elevators.
it was just
the
a
weather,
phase,
the snow, the salt,
but
it's
Megan...
rough. They run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Okay, if you're watching the video, I got to get off this because I get pop-up ads. If you're watching the video, look at all the crap in the garbage that's like collected in the top of the stairway of the escalators they're working on. It's like, oh my gosh. I mean, the escalator kind of becomes a garbage chute to some extent and gets all sorts of stuff in it. But anyway, I hats off to the MTA for stepping forward, getting a spokesperson out there and actually talking to a reporter about it. I think they did it pretty well. So yeah, good job. Good job on that. So yeah, escalators are very complicated pieces of equipment. Okay, Elevator U is calling for presentations or papers. So if you're interested in presenting at the 2014 Elevator U conference in Nebraska, in Lincoln, consider submitting a call for paper or a presentation topic, and ultimately they're looking for real-world experiences and projects that you may have been involved with that have helped elevators on college and campus settings, which is kind of cool and unique. So go over and check that out, fill out the paperwork, and send it in if you are interested. Okay, no eating on elevators. As if governments across the world did not have enough to chime in on. This coming from in China. Apparently, food and drink banned on Beijing subway, which is probably always a good idea. Wonder what the consequences are for doing that. But yeah, I guess it's okay. It's one thing to write on paper what the rules are. Another to actually enforce it. So yeah. Okay, real sad story coming from absnews.com, which was in Manila. Apparently a toddler dies in an escalator accident, which is horrific. So this actually apparently not good, and it sounds as if it was over the side type of accident. Anyway, apparently to a family friend of the neighbor, the mother or the woman that was with the mother was looking at the shoe stalls on the second floor when the accident occurred. Apparently, looks as if he was playing around the escalator and kind of got dragged over the side. I guess the best anyway. Not good, and obviously, you and I all know, and common sense when it comes to the proper education or educating kids and parents. Sometimes it's the parents that need to be educated. I don't really know how to reach them any better than through the Elevator Escalator Safety Foundation. And obviously, this is in a whole other country, but doesn't take away the importance of that type of education. So, real not article at all. Okay, Elevator World Online has another cool article talking about elevators in the Roman Colosseum. I'm going to let everybody play that on their own. Kind of a cool video on some of the technology that was used for the Colosseum in Rome, including the first elevators and how they're used. So go ahead and play that video. That's actually embedded in the Elevator World website. So very cool. Okay, the Chicago Elevator Association meeting is tomorrow. So EPCO is going to be presenting on their fine products. The location is at Champs, 2301 Fountain Square Drive. Get your reservation in today if you haven't already done so. The meeting flyer and the news update are actually attached. I, unfortunately, will not be there. Volleyball season is in full swing for my 6th and 7th grader. And next week, freshman tryouts start. So, yeah, it's just like every night we got 2 games going on, and pretty soon it's going to be 3. So it's just busy. So unfortunately, March is not going to be. March or April are going to be tough. Well, March I can't make. April and May are going to be tough to get hooked up into. So anyway. Okay, next article, iOS in the lift is a joke. If you take a look at this photo, this cultofmac.com has a kind of an image which is not real, although this is from some European type of country based on looking at the elevator buttons. But it's a JPEG overlay that looks like a big sticker. And it's an interface of basically an elevator app, which is somewhat comical. When it comes to marketing, I thought this pretty interesting. What the author of this article doesn't realize is that there actually is an iPhone app, and Vertitron, they're the ones that came up with it, or VMI. So if you're interested in an iPhone-type elevator app, Apello is the app for you, and encourage you to check them out by doing so. It does require an interface with your existing controller, but pretty slick system. So MacCult.com, you are not far off from seeing a type of app like that. Okay, let's see. BringMethyNews.com. What the hell kind of website is that? It's a methadone site. BringMethyNews.com has an article talking about laws regulating elevator operators, wild boars targeted in unsession. So this is in Minneapolis or St. Paul. I bet if you didn't know this, apparently if in addition to elevator operators working in Minnesota still need to be licensed by the state, which I don't have a problem with. I mean, there's only 2 of them, but still a good idea to be licensed by the state to prove that you understand how to ride an elevator or run an elevator, I guess. But here's another one that's pretty interesting. If a wild boar gets loose in Minneapolis or St. Paul, Minnesota, law requires the state agricultural commissioner to personally capture it. Anybody got a wild boar that we can let loose and just see if the person the commissioner would be required to go capture it? Anyway, you wonder how many laws like this are in the books, and that you just go, man, this is ridiculous. But at one time they were apparently important. So, okay, next news article. Ski lifts are a very safe form of transportation. We've been saying that about elevators for a long time. I've been on a few ski lifts before, and while they are safe, and I've only heard of a couple of having issues, I do have to say that they're only as safe as the person riding them, as it is the case with pretty much any device, elevator, escalator, whatever, because I've seen kids fall off of ski lifts. Unfortunately, I don't mean to laugh, but it's been close enough to like lower levels where they haven't been hurt, but there have been people that have been hurt. So I guess one of those deals that you just got to realize that everything's safe until you put somebody in charge of it, and your own person in charge of it, and just stop screwing around, and you're okay. Okay, next news article. If you are a germaphobe, not that I am or anything, but if this is coming from eturbonews.com or Travel Law, this is an article named "Stop Blaming the Passengers, Eradicate Norovirus Now." Basically, this goes through a list of items that of where you can get different kind of diseases, from cruise ships to elevators to door handles. This will make you want to live in a bubble after reading it. So, and this is kind of tying in with the Center for Disease Control, but just wash your hands. I've been pretty lucky, knock on wood, that I haven't really been sick for, any longer periods of time other than just not feel that great, which I will take to the bank because I don't want to get sick. I do not want to get sick at all. Anyway, well, that's going to do for the content for this week's show, everybody. As always, I want to thank you for joining me today, and I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have enjoyed producing it for you. So, as always, be safe out there. Remember, safety is number one, and the most important part of your day is getting home to your family and making sure that those around you are safe as well. So, in any event, have a great rest of the week. Be careful shoveling out there, and a great weekend. Have a great weekend, and we will talk to you next Wednesday. So take care and be safe. Bye-bye.